I was the ghost you never wanted to see. You passed me by like a chapter you'd rather forget. Your absence is a wound that no time can heal. You walked past me, and suddenly I was nothing but a memory. 80. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more. You left quietly, but your absence roars in my veins. You passed me by and left me searching for words that never came. I was the silence you chose when love became too loud. You walked past like I was an echo fading into the night. You vanished, but your shadow still lingers in my heart. You erased me with your silence, and I'm still learning to forgive the quiet. Your absence is a story I'm forced to live. You moved past me like a fleeting thought I can't forget. You left without looking, but I never stopped watching you go. I was the love you forgot to hold on to. You walked past me like I was the end of a story you never wanted to finish. Your silence was the loudest betrayal I've ever known. You left a space no one else can fill. You passed by, but my heart still beats your name. You vanished like a secret the universe wasn't ready to reveal. You walked past me, and with each step, you erased our yesterday. I was the love you chose not to fight for. You moved on, but I'm still trapped in the space where you disappeared. You passed me by, and I became the story you never told. You walked away, leaving me to carry the weight of your silence forever. You disappeared from my world, but your ghost still haunts every breath I take. I was the silence in your storm, ignored and forgotten, yet unbroken. You walked past me, leaving my soul bruised and aching for what never was. Your absence carved out a hollow where my love once lived. You left me standing in shadows, longing for light you chose to deny. I reached for you, but you moved on without even a backward glance. You passed me by as if I were a forgotten prayer unanswered. The hardest wound is being unseen by someone who once adored your light. You vanished without a word, uh, uh, but your silence screamed louder than 1,000 truths. You walked past me and took the colors from my world. I was the love you let slip away, unnoticed until it was gone. You stepped away quietly, but your absence screams inside me endlessly. You left without closing the door. Now I'm trapped in the hallway of what ifs. I was the heart you forgot to hold, the love you let fade. You walked past me like a ghost fading into the dawn of forgotten dreams. Your silence taught me the weight of being invisible to someone you loved. You vanished like smoke, leaving my lungs full of ache. I stood still, watching the world shift when you walked past me. You erased me with every step you took away, leaving wounds no one sees. You moved on without a glance, but I'm still tethered to our last breath. I was the story you abandoned halfway, unfinished, unread, and aching. You passed me by, and suddenly love was just a fading memory. Your absence is a song I hear in the silence of my soul. You walked past me and shattered the mirror where I once saw us. I was the shadow you ignored, but my pain was real and deep. You left a void that echoes louder than your words ever could. You vanished from my sight, but never from my heart. I was the moment you chose to forget, and it still haunts me. You walked past me, breaking all the promises without saying a word. Your silence is a wound that no time has healed. You stepped away like a ghost fading from the edges of my life. I was the love you never realized you lost until it was too late. You passed by me, teaching me the true meaning of heartbreak's quiet sting. You left me with a silence so loud it drowns out every hope. You walked away, but the ache of your absence remains permanent. I was the soul you forgot to cherish, lost in the noise of your departure. You vanished, and with you went all the warmth I ever knew. Your footsteps faded, but their echo still tears through my nights. You walked past me without looking back, and I am still here holding on. I was the love story you chose to rewrite without me in it. You disappeared like a shadow swallowed by the setting sun. You left quietly, but your absence shattered my world louder than a storm. I was the dream you let slip away in the silence of your passing. You walked past me like I was a ghost of a love you forgot. Your silence was louder than any goodbye I ever wanted to hear. You vanished without a trace, but your absence is deeply marked in my soul. I was the heart you turned away from, breaking me slowly in the dark. You passed me by, and I'm still haunted by the space you left behind. You left without a word, but your silence is a constant scream in me. You walked away, and I became the wound that never healed. I was the love you forgot to protect. Now just an echo of pain. My dear, you walked right past me like I was air, and it shattered everything I believed about us. You passed by, silent and cold, breaking my heart without even looking back once. The ache wasn't in your leaving, but in how easily you erased me from your world. I stood still. You vanished like a ghost who forgot we ever shared a heartbeat. Every step you took away from me echoed louder than 1,000 apologies. You crossed my path without a word, leaving silence that screamed louder than love ever did. The worst pain is being invisible to someone who once held your soul in their hands. You didn't need to hurt me, just ignoring me did that perfectly. I begged for your eyes, but you walked by blind to my broken pieces. Passing me by was your loudest goodbye, and I'm still learning to hear it. You left without a sound, but the silence you left behind screams in my chest. Your footsteps faded like a promise that was never meant to be kept. You chose to walk past me. I chose to remember the weight of your absence. You were the shadow I couldn't catch, slipping past like the end of a dream. My heart watched you walk away and shattered in the quiet aftermath. You walked past, and suddenly I was the stranger in my own story. I was a chapter you skipped, but I'm the book you'll never forget. You moved on so easily, but I'm still tracing where you once stood. You passed without a glance, teaching me the coldness of goodbye without closure. Your silence spoke louder than the words you never said to me. You vanished like a star, leaving night without a hint of light. The hardest part wasn't losing you, but being unnoticed as you left. Your passing was a wound carved out by indifference. I was standing right there, but you looked through me like glass. You walked past me like a stranger, but my heart remembers every step. The hurt wasn't in the leaving, it was in being invisible while you left. You crossed me off without a backward glance, and it broke me more than words. You were here, and then you weren't, leaving a silence that screams. Walking past was your final act, but my soul keeps replaying the scene. You didn't walk away, you erased me without a trace. I was the air you breathed until I wasn't even that. You slipped through my fingers like a dream dissolving at dawn. The hardest goodbye is the one that happens in silence. You passed me by, but I still feel the echo of your footsteps. You walked away, and the world stopped speaking my language. I was a shadow you ignored, fading into your oblivion. You vanished without warning, but I'm still learning to let go. Your silence cut deeper than any harsh word ever could. You moved past me like a ghost, leaving my heart haunted. The pain wasn't your leaving, it was the way you pretended I wasn't there. You left a void shaped like your absence. I was a home you walked past without knocking. You stepped around me as if I were a ghost in your life. You left footprints in my soul and then disappeared. I was the moment you chose to forget. You walked past me and took the light with you. The sting wasn't in losing you, but in being overlooked as you left. You left silently, but your absence screams in every corner of my being. You erased me from your story, but I'm still writing mine. I was the unwelcome truth you chose to ignore. You walked by, leaving behind a silence filled with broken dreams. You stepped past me like a stranger, passing through a room full of memories. You vanished like smoke, impossible to hold, impossible to forget. I was the ghost you forgot to acknowledge. You left without looking back, and my heart cracked in the quiet. You walked past me, but I'm still standing in the shadow of your absence. The worst pain is being unseen by the one who once claimed to love you. You disappeared without a goodbye, but your absence is my forever echo. You walked past like I was a wound too deep to heal. Your footsteps faded, but their echo still haunts me. You moved on, leaving me to gather the shards of our silence. You were here, then gone, like a whispered lie. You passed me by, teaching me how cold love can truly be. I was a chapter you skipped, but the story still aches for you. You walked past me without a word. Your silence became my prison. I felt your absence before I felt your leaving. You left like a shadow, always near, never touched. You passed by like I was a stranger in the crowd of your life. You walked away quietly, but the wound you left roars. I was the silence you chose over love's noise. You vanished like a promise that was never meant to be kept. You walked past me with the weight of 1,000 unspoken goodbyes. The hurt wasn't in your leaving, but in your blindness to my pain. You moved past me like the wind, felt but never held. You left without a glance, and my heart broke in that moment. I was the ghost you never wanted to see.